Good evening. The time is 6:37, calling this planning development meeting to order on September 19th. We're here to discuss D.O.R.A further and make some modifications to the proposed legislation. Also joining us is Mr. Adam Fowler from Hockin College, Dean of the Business Development, Workforce Development. So really happy to have you with us. If you'd like to just share a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, Adam Fowler, I'm Dean of Workforce Development at Hockin College. My background comes from construction industry, heavy highway and heavy industrial for many years. Completed an MBA in business administration, oversee various programs within workforce development and entrepreneurial ventures at the institution, the lodge, Rhapsody, brewery and distillery. And I think brewery and distillery is one of the highlights, as well as some downtown revitalization dollars that are coming down the pipe that we're going to provide an update to you guys with.
Awesome. Well, that all sounds great. Sign us up. Cool. We can start with D.O.R.A since that's also, we would love to get your input on D.O.R.A and imagine you're somewhat familiar with the direction we're going. But I know the original draft language had us using cups, and you would like to get us out of the cup buying business or prevent us from getting into it in the first place.
Right. So just looking at a couple of the other models around Ohio, how do you feel about just letting bars purchase their own cups? The city just stay on the cup business altogether, as far as them purchasing them, they deciding whether they upcharge them or not. I'd just rather just stay out of that business all the way around and the city not get involved. I get it, there's a little bit of revenue there to be made, but quite frankly, we don't have the manpower to get in that business. And about the first time we run out of cups and the bars have nowhere to buy cups and there's a back order or something like that, then we are then the cup party poopers. Right?
Yeah, I don't have any problem with, not doing it if there's a good way to avoid that. What isn't clear to me is like how we make sure that people, who are walking around with drinks on the square are purchasing it from an approved establishment and not, just doing their own thing. Because I think that's the intent, is that we partially justify the D.O.R.A because it, supports the businesses that are in the zone, rather than just bring your 12-pack and open it up on the street. So do you have an idea about how to address that?
No, I do. I understand. So, because I thought a lot about that too.
Sure.
And are you good? It doesn't matter what you do, somebody's going to cheat the system.
Sure, yeah.
And you're going to have that guy or gal that has their flask and fills it up, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they're going to do that no matter what you do.
Yeah, they're doing that now, right?
Right. So I think at the end of the day, we just have to count on our police to do what they do. I think the obvious people with the coolers will get caught, I think the people that are going to keep refilling it with a flask are going to do that no matter whether we sell the cups or the bars sell the cups, and they just hold on to it. You can still pursue the bracelet option or stamp option.
Well, that's what I was kind of
and that can still be done through the bars as well, where the city's not involved selling it. My biggest fear is these bars counting on the city to provide some level of service, and we not be able to provide that level of service, whether they run out, because Lord knows they'll wait till they have 5 bands left on a Friday afternoon, and we have no idea of knowing what their inventory levels are, and they come in and wipe us out. And another bar comes, maybe he shows up on Friday, takes all of our inventory and says, "Oh crap, all for the distillery," and then calls up, "Oh, we need them for Rhapsody too," and then the mine's like, "Well, we need some," and we didn't, who. We're trying to get in the inventory business, and we're not a warehouse.
Yeah,
that's not our specialty, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We're not in that business, and I don't want to get in that business. So,
Speaking from a business standpoint on our end, obviously with Rhapsody, being on the square, the brewery, I guess, one of my purposes for being here is the update to the LS building, the former LS building, right by the train station. So, obviously you've seen renovations going on there, and that'll be the future home of our brewery and distillery. So the distillery that was formerly located in New Straitsville, is going to be relocated down here. We're currently in a hold on our production there. We still have brewery production at the lodge, the culinary services building, on the other side of town. We fully intend to operate all the brewery and distillery productions out of the new facility. Future plans will have a hot dog and ice cream shop in there. So the entryway we would come in, I was trying to get some artist renderings from the architect, wasn't able to get those in time for the meeting tonight. When you walk in, there'll be a hot dog and ice cream stand on the right. On the left-hand side will be the brewery with a full-service bar and tasting room. The distillery would be attached to that. They're separated because of different classifications for fire and or production. So they'll share that space. We intend to eventually put an outside seating area behind the building between the railroad tracks in there, and be able to offer outdoor dining, outdoor consumption area still on the premise of the property, be able to have an outdoor draft service there so that people can get their draft on the beer side of things there. All the bar service would be consumable outside, but the full service bar will remain inside the facility at this point. Some other things that are going to be going on in that facility will be agility training for the canine program that they have. Will be going on the back end, as well as the foundation is looking to operate a bingo hall style operation out there on so many months, so many days out of the month, etc. For foundation generation, dollars to support clubs and organizations within the college. So to help assist with some of the different things, varying, we have study abroad programs for different culinary and natural resources programs, stuff like that, to help students offset the cost of these trips that they go on. So we are still operating the full service bar out of the lodge, down on 691, full service bar and brewery. It's open during certain evenings. But one of the things I wanted to ask a question was looking at the D.O.R.A. With the ability for Starbreak Barbecue selling alcohol off the premises at Rocky. Is that D.O.R.A. planning to extend it there as well as down to the brewery and distillery? Or
yeah, we already got you guys roped in there. I mean, as far as I remember, we counted on you guys being there and having the distillery as part of it anyways. As far as like drawing the line around the building to make sure we incorporate that, that's not a big deal. Yeah, but as far as I remember on the map, they were definitely.
We made a point to get you in there. Yeah.
And just so I don't take up too much of your time this evening, the other point to this, and be considering about, and we have future discussions on this, is with the governor's funds that he's allocated towards downtown revitalization and those funds coming forward, we are presenting a tie-in between Shawnee, Perry County, and Nelsonville with some downtown revitalization. So the Beecham building is part of that makerspace introduction there to help with downtown business development. Also, some of these funds that we're going to, the current iteration of the plan that we're presenting forward to the governor's office, specifically John Kerry, is who's responsible for administering that program, that we look to create essentially the Southeast Ohio Bourbon Trail, for lack of a better term. But we look at breweries and distilleries that are dotted throughout Southeast Ohio, specifically for our purposes, Perry and Perry County, Somerset, Shawnee, and Nelsonville. We look to possibly expand that directionally to incorporate some of what's going on up in the Logan area. Obviously, we've got plenty of breweries down in the Athens area, but how can we tie this in and help build tourism dollars in that realm? Some of that thought process. We'll also look to encompass possibly what we're doing with our campground expansion at the college, future events going on there via the Equine Center, dedicated green space we've set up for the music festival, other festivals that may occur, providing that additional space there. So The dollars from the governor's office, again, looking towards that urban trails type designation for Perry County all the way down through here into Nelsonville. And just to help with that downtown revitalization. So we're looking to be coming to you guys with some possibilities, and here's our plans and thoughts, and making sure that we're considering what you guys have in mind when you're looking from a planning standpoint. Be good partners in the community.
Are you guys still planning on keeping that a makerspace, or are you going to switch directions?
Currently still a makerspace.
What is a makerspace?
So makerspace is can be iterated in various forms, but the plan here is to set it up so as a business incubation, not to take away from what AceNet currently does, but to be a smaller scale version where you don't have long-term tenancy. AceNet typically has people who are there more longer term. We're looking for the entrepreneurial person who's needs a place to, needs to utilize a laser printer, or a 3D printer, or a small scale kitchen to do development of recipes that they're doing baked goods out of their home currently, or using some different space, but don't need it on the larger scale. So that there's 1, 2, 3 floors in that facility. Storefront space for sort of similar to what New Leaf's doing, having some retail space there. Kind of aligning with some of where they're trying to help people through recovery as well. Just providing that outlet for community members who need a location. Computers, computer location for people to use for business development. Do some business coaching through there. Eventually we'll work some with some, business incubation centers, and again with AceNet, continue some of that. So it ties in as part of our makerspace here in Nelsonville. Also encompasses the VAC, the Visual Arts Center, where we're currently doing visual learning on main campus, as well as we'll be looking to expand into our Sylvania property, the Star Machine Building, currently where our construction programs are housed. The architectural millwork cabinet making program over there has a wood shop for millwork and cabinet making. We've got a sawmill that is operational. We've got a kiln that is on the verge of being operational to be able to open that space up to community members through funding models, various funding models, people who are looking to harvest some timber, need some stuff kiln dried, retail sales possibly of some timber. Not sure in what expanse that'll get into, but then our ability to use the shop there to do projects as an entrepreneurial venture. You have someone who's into wood turning but can't afford a bigger lathe or needs a larger planer. They're able to use that space for their designated hours off of our academic side of hours. So some couple evenings or a weekday, weekend day, Saturday or Sunday would be available. So spaced in through some membership fee structure. Of course, some safety orientation stuff that goes along with that. But coming back to the Meacham side, on the downtown side of things, we do have some architectural plans in the works. That look at the facility, what we got to do just to get it, what dollars do we need to come up with to get it structurally sound, and then of course dressing up the outside of it, and begin the inside progress.
And you're hoping to get the majority of those dollars from the state through the downtown revitalization.
Yeah, that's the current target on that. And then those expanded dollars would funnel to other projects that are going to be listed. So there's several projects up in the Perry County area that we're looking at to help with their downtown revitalization. And so our service territory as the college, we're not just down in Adams County. So we're looking to help out in the service territory. Shawnee's another one that's seen a huge investment and a lot of downtown revitalization for that small strip right in there. And so we want to continue that, both more thing back down this way.
Have they dropped the guidance yet on that money?
No.
I don't think so.
They had an
just keep
initial
asking from different directions if anybody's heard anything.
Yeah, not that I've been made aware of yet.
Not that I'm tracking either.
There was an initial meeting
Right.
several weeks ago. That initial meeting with the governor's office, were some spitballed ideas thrown out.
Right.
Ours was being one of those. So we're hoping to see what's going on. Collaboration's key. The governor's office prefers to see collaboration with anything we do, especially public-private partnerships are becoming more and more critical to anything that any institution is doing, whether it's a city, or an educational institution. The public-private partnerships are key. And so those dollars are able to stretch them further a lot of times because of that, with that investment from the private side as well. So, trying to figure out these things, and the community development is what it's all about. If we can bring people to the area to help with tourism dollars or service dollars, and we'll eventually bring manufacturing dollars, we'll eventually bring additional enrollments, etc.
Great stuff. Thank you. Yeah, all exciting. Jumping back to D.O.R.A. a little bit, feel free to weigh in, Mr. Fowler. So I'm hearing you on getting out of cups and the cost of administrating and the headache of storage and, warehousing everything. You said two things. One is that there may be other cities that are doing the model you're describing.
So Jason went to, and I forget the name of the city off the top of my head, and they did just the cups. And he just got the cup when he went to the bar, and they just served the beer in the cup. He just picked whatever cup he wanted. I don't remember if they charged him different or not. Sure. And there was no wristband. And then there's been other places that they've done the wristband. It would be my suggestion that we start out with the cup, and if it becomes a problem, then we can add more. It's easier. Yeah. It's easier to add more, I think, in this scenario than start out with the full gamut and then say we're going to reduce later. But of course, that's y'all's decision.
Sure. And so when you say the cup, do you mean that we would commission some kind of design of a cup, and then we would say, hey, here's who you talk to, bars and businesses to buy them, and buy as many as you want.
Right, and it seems like the cup's pretty standard across the board. Everybody's using the exact same cup for the most part.
I just figured we want our logo on it or whatever.
Yeah, it's the purple D.O.R.A. and it says City of Nelsonville on it and all that.
Because I think that's important too.
So it's specific to us.
Yeah, that sounds great to me.
Put a big fat star brick on there,
Yeah.
So that way it's very identifiable as ours.
I'm a big fan of utilizing best practices that have been established somewhere else. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. So if there's a city that's making this work, why don't we just emulate what they're doing?
And we got the sign order. I don't know if the sign order's in or prep to go in for the D.O.R.A. signs that you and I had already identified, or what that you'd already identified. Yeah. And we even talked about, since we started ordering the polymer road striping, it's the stuff we melt to the asphalt now that has the glass in it. I think I can get, if I can't get purple, I'm going to get something that we don't have anywhere else, a different color, and mark across the road like a big line.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw that in Somerset. I'm not sure. I know they have the D.O.R.A. signs everywhere, but I don't know if you mentioned Somerset, so I don't know if you've been over there recently, but I think they had a line across on the road as well. I know the signs were super obvious at a bare minimum, but that way it's just kind of in your face, hey, turn around. Yeah.
From a business standpoint, I guess, not to speak for everybody, obviously, but, from our standpoint, we're going to follow whatever is recommended and put forth in it. But the cup side of things would be just something additional as a business we would have to purchase and maintain inventory of on a regular basis versus something that's a little more simpler, like a wristband. And then, not knowing exactly how every door is set up, is that cup, somebody's got to remember to bring it along with them. They get thrown away or generate extra waste by forcing someone to purchase a cup that they're only going to use and pitch, versus if they go, obviously we don't want them walking out with our pint glasses all the time either, so just some thoughts, from my standpoint. So however it gets dictated out, obviously, will make sense. Will make sense of it, but just thinking from that standpoint of storage and additional inventory, and that's just something else we've got to track as a business. I know the intent is to expand business and not be a hindrance. So I agree. Don't reinvent the wheel. When neighbors to the south has done it. I remember when it first came out, I never went down and participated, but other locations such as Somerset's one. So I can, I'm actually got a meeting coming up later this week. I can touch base with them to see if this isn't working or this is working, or it's okay, and we're still trying to figure out the best way. But I can get that information back to you guys.
Yeah, we met with him. I guess it's been a couple months now. Taylor and I went over, met with him there over there. And they said it was working, great.
Yeah.
It's surprising what Somerset does at night over there. It's crazy. And, no issues over there. Everybody seems to be very happy with how it goes. And I know Athens, they charge for the cups down there. And then that's just more on the business because then they buy it because I'm pretty sure the
They
city
buy it
sells
for 49 cents. Athens buys it for 49 cents and sells them for $1 a cup.
Yeah, and I just don't want to end that business at all, because then I get it, that's revenue, but I just don't want to end that.
Yeah, if you start putting time and time in some aid processing and all that, yeah.
Athens also their cups are, the prescription is single use. I don't see a good reason for that. I don't know on the business end how it would work, but it seems like the cups that we get should be multi-use if the business wants to do multi-use, and if the business wants to do, one per drink. My instinct would be to let the business decide how they use the cups. I don't know what you're thinking with that.
Yeah, I don't want to get, I don't want to get into the, I figured the health department probably dictates all that. I don't know. And I don't want to get into that business. I just would like to say, this is the type of cup you have to use for D.O.R.A.
Yeah.
And maybe get some recycle bins uptown so we can start recycling these cups versus having more waste.
Yeah.
And, because I want to be good stewards of this as well.
Oh, I'm with you. And that's why I'm saying, like, I don't know why Athens requires single-use cups. Maybe it's the revenue aspect of it, but in my mind, it seems not
And how are
necessary.
we coming along on the language of the ordinance?
Well, it is still the same as what we had. We were waiting for legal counsel to approve it following the changes I made after I reread Ohio Revised Code.
Right.
I'll need to change it now to, it'll just be a cut job, I'm just gonna take stuff
Yeah,
out.
but have we done all the, you mentioned last time we had to get the addresses to every.
We've got the addresses, we have them, we are ready to, we just need to publish them, but we don't want to do that until we're 100% confident about both the specifics of the legislation, in this case, whether to buy cups and wristbands or have businesses buy them. And we wanted to be sure that it was legally sound before we paid for the ad. So I don't know if they looked at it.
I will take the blame. It's just been a victim of my inbox.
No, it's all right. It's been, we're making changes.
Give me a snapshot view of how many hoops do we still have to jump through and what are the barriers?
We just need to change the language based on our conversation from today, which will be, again, just taking stuff out basically. And then we have the addresses, so we need to publish them in the paper, wait 30 days for people can come in and make suggestions. We'll also need to have it posted up at City Hall somewhere for people to come and look at it, as well as the map. And then after 30 days have passed, we can vote on it.
Okay, so we're that close.
Yeah.
You left out one thing.
A
A thorough legal review.
Well, yes, that's a given.
That is the
Yeah,
key word there.
sure, yeah.
And we have a
Yeah,
mechanism
from someone who
in place
isn't
to make
actually a
sure that
lawyer
happens.
and not just me on a weekend board.
No,
So,
I absolutely
yeah.
agree. We have that capacity now?
It exists, but I gotta make sure that to push that button. Hey, because we sent it to them once and they wrote the ordinance and said vote on it. But then Nick read the law, and now we're doing things correctly.
I just want to make sure that doesn't become a reoccurring thing.
It is, yes, sir.
so we're not gonna try wristbands out the gate. We're just not gonna worry about that, right?
I think if it becomes a problem, then we
Then
readdress
we go
it.
into that, okay.
Or if it looks like something that's makes sense down the road for the city to make revenue, then we can address it then. to me, that's unnecessary workload at this point. The juice just doesn't seem worth the squeeze right now.
Right.
Right, so, yeah, so the legislation will have, the time, the addresses, be specified that the city manager has power to halt distribution of D.O.R.A beverages, as if there's an emergency or reason to do so. And then, line forward, the use of 16-ounce cups will be required. Each cup will be printed with the rules. And are we even gonna do the rules? Or are we just gonna say?
I think we should still do the rules. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Cool.
And I think the
Which is
places
just,
would be responsible for posting them.
sure, yeah, and we can provide
The
signage and
establishments.
stuff, yeah. We have signage and, so really we're, instead of buying it, before we listed the price and how much businesses could buy it from, we're essentially just gonna tell them, this is where you can buy the cups, buy as many as you need.
Here's the requirements for the cups. We can't tell them where they have to buy.
Well, yeah, I don't know,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. This is the kind of cup you need. The only other thought that occurred to me is, and I don't know if this would be better or worse from a business perspective, is that we could just buy, the city could just buy a giant roll of stickers that you put on cups. I don't know whether that's a good idea or not, but it occurred to me and that it would, you would do one sticker with the logo and one sticker with the rules, and then businesses just need to do that rather than mess with the cup, purchasing cups that have everything printed on it.
It's probably cheaper from a labor standpoint to have cups pre-printed than for me to pay somebody.
To put the stickers on, and that's what I wasn't sure, yeah, so,
And definitely be a lot easier to give your friends a roll of stickers
yes, if you, yeah,
than a
that's
bunch of
true,
cups.
that's true, yeah. Cool, okay, well then we won't worry about that. Cool, yeah, this sounds good, I'll update the language then if we're all, if, what we're talking about sounds good.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'll update that today, probably tonight or tomorrow morning, and send it to you all to just do a quick review.
So you're thinking we're within 3 months of bringing this to council?
I hope so.
Or less. I mean, if we're to this point now, he makes the changes, I can forward it to Bob. Bob, I need a thorough, no kidding review. And, where we at? It's today, Monday. He'll probably get it back to me before the end of the week. I can get it in next week's paper. Okay. And then it needs to sit for 30 days?
30 days.
And then after that, then we'll run it through council the regular way.
So we can.
2 months, so you're 3 months actually on the dot, so by January, it's out legit.
Cool.
Cause there's no reason to rush this through.
Because if no, I don't want to rush it.
What I mean by that is no reason to emergency, so
No.
vote 2 weeks, vote
Go
2
through
weeks
the
and then let us
regular-
sit.
Right. I just don't want this to be something that
Just language. is-
we have to put a time frame on it so that we can push that down the road.
Yep.
Instead of just letting it kind of sit and spin for a while.
No, let's do it, let's, if you have time to delete and do whatever you need to do. Don't get fancy now, come on now. Anyway,
Yeah.
so the other thing we need to do, oh, I'm sorry, were we done with D.O.R.A?
I think we're done with Dora.
I don't have any-
Do you guys have any further questions for me?
I don't have anything, I appreciate the update.
Yeah,
thanks
thank you
for
so
coming in
much.
and
Yeah.
giving us the rundown.
Yeah, and come anytime and, as things crystallize more on what your plans are for the square and town, we're happy to be a partner, so just let us know.
Absolutely. I may have my number, Scott. I know Justin does otherwise.
Okay.
Yes, I get one. So,
I'm 99.99% sure I have it.
we talked about a few different things before, so, yeah. And I'm findable in the directory, so obviously. Appreciate you guys and.
Glad you came.
Happy to help out how we can.
Great, thanks for coming.
Yep, thank you.
So actually, that's the next part where we're at. So with the pending instructions coming down, we need to start, I need you guys to start, to start, if you will. I have 1 million, it's an exaggeration, obviously, ideas of what we would like to do and what you guys would like to do, and we need to start lining those up. And when the instructions do drop,
You're talking about downtown revitalization.
well, the 500 million he's talking about from the governor's office. A lot of people have been strategizing, I get that. lot of people have grandmaster plans based off zero guidance. I'm sure, I'm sure Doug knows what those look like. And, I don't know about you, Nick, but, a lot of people love making plans off
Oh,
no
sure,
guidance,
yeah.
and it's a lot of, tail chasing, in my opinion. So, I've heard a lot of cool ideas. That Bourbon Trail, I thought that was really cool. And, I can share with you other ideas that I thought were good ideas. I'd love to hear all your guys' ideas. I got some of my own ideas. I think we could spend some money on to make the Nelsonville a lot better, but we need to start having those meetings probably pretty quick. And, it will probably be its own subcommittee off of this.
Okay.
And, who that needs to be, I'm not real sure, but, this is a golden opportunity to start.
Any idea when that's gonna start trickling down?
Well, so the first part is design money. So the rules are gonna start for design money. So I've already talked briefly to our engineer, but again, you know, so it's easy to get anxious, right? Because all these people are like scurrying about rats on stuff. And I mean, like, people are really worked up about it, and there's already cutthroat stuff going on. I can give you a perfect example.
Chum in the water. Right?
There's literally, people are already, but the instructions haven't even fallen yet.
Right.
So I've chose purposely not to get involved. There's some other small communities, I'm not gonna say them on camera just because I don't want to give any of those other sharks opportunity to kill people. But there's other small communities that would like to work with us and partner with us. You know, because they've either no interest in working with those other cutthroat communities or have already been offed by them. And you know, so, which I think is great. And they're really close here next to us, and I think it'd be wonderful to work with them. Some in neighboring counties as well. They've already been involved in neighboring counties, our neighboring counties. You know, some of the ideas include, you know, building a small little trail out of Nelsonville up Fort Street up Trash Pile Road, something that's simple, going to Bookdale's trailhead that's going to open for the Baileys.
Soon, too.
There's already been in the works before. It's already exists, like the pseudo plans from the trailhead in Duneville, bringing it into town and connecting it to the Hocking Adena bikeway. And then also connecting it to through town and going toward Haydenville. ODOT's throwing money to try and make it happen again where they get back on the railroad tracks going toward Logan. Problem is, those railroad tracks are on private property all the way through there with no easements, so that's a huge challenge. And I would love to see us have an itty bitty visitor center with that, nothing crazy, but something small, one person in there maybe. That you know, sells stuff from local artists, potentially shirts and stuff like that.
So we need a planning meeting where we can start putting
All these ideas, and then start prioritizing them.
Like how much does it cost and what assets?
Yeah.
do we do?
Get some resource management on them.
And we got the engineer that'll help us with a lot of this stuff, because there's money for everybody in this.
What's a good time frame for us to start actually developing a subcommittee to make?
We can start whenever, because even if we just start getting all the ideas, you know, list on the list.
The ideas, yeah.
Yep, we're at that point now because literally the instructions, they've been saying the instructions are gonna fall for about 4 months now. And I think we are finally getting close to where the instructions are gonna fall.
Are there any other committees that need to be involved?
Well, I think this is not necessarily where other committees, it's just people, where we pick people.
Okay.
And I don't know what the rule is, how many of you can be in the room without having a quorum. So it'd probably be whatever that max is you can have, and who would want to be a part of it. I mean, I know,
So let's put that out maybe at the next council meeting.
Yeah.
And get some volunteers and start putting some dates down.
and then start just generating ideas now, start thinking ideas.
Get a working group put together.
My moonshot idea that I almost shouldn't say, but because I know that people would feel strongly about it, and I definitely want to hear particularly business owners and people who live on the square. But I think the square would be better off if it was walk only.
Absolutely.
Um,
I've been saying that for years, or yes, I'm with you.
yeah.
So I will stand with you next year and we will take those face shots together.
Before the incoming rounds start to.
We got two whole people watching us. So.
Well, I want to hear people's perspective on it. but-
I'm already buying bullets for them, so we're gonna start that change slowly.
So where do people park? Where's the park?
Down the streets.
Yeah, I think that, the thing is a lot of the street, because this, I was thinking about this, a lot of the street parking isn't utilized, during the, average day, right? So like average day, a lot of the street parking on Columbus and, not Franklin, but, Washington is not used. And so the concern is, well, when are big events? I mean, that's what my experience at least, when I drive near the square.
I've always got somebody else's car parked in front of my house.
Really? Okay. Huh. Well, I don't know. I mean, I haven't had an issue, but my rationale is that the times when we most need that parking are the times when people can't park there anyway. Whenever we have festivals and things that are blocked off. And so like the time, and we make it work then.
I also think the square should be brick, but I'm not gonna.
No, I agree with you there too. Totally agree. The
I just
rest of
think
it
having like
shouldn't
some
be.
picnic tables
Right.
out there and.
Yes,
The only part of Nelsonville that needs a brick surface is.
and it should be brick murals with all the existing brick, or all the brick used from different parts of the town.
Does the city own any property, like any, buildings on or around the square? My thinking
Not
is
that
no,
I don't.
but I just want to make sure, particularly thinking about downtown revitalization and whether we're just talking about outdoor areas or if we own a building there that, so, yeah, I'm not aware, but I have no idea, but just if we own a building, then like that opens up possibilities.
But we can also help, so for example, with this money,
Yeah.
if you own a building
Mhm.
and you wanna redo the front of it,
Mhm.
you can redo the front of it through us.
All right.
In this scenario. So if the store owners wanna redo their front, that can be part of this.
That can, okay. That's good to know.
So we cannot do infrastructure with this money, but we can do storefronts,
What does that mean? Like we can't build a bridge or we can't like redo a
do water
road?
lines.
Okay.
Asphalt, I'm not sure about, but we can't do water lines, we can't do sewer lines, we can't do. So there was existing plans, phase 2 for the downtown revitalization, which means extending, so there's two different style of, streetlights up there. So that's extending the streetlights, I believe, down Columbus Street in both directions and bearing the, I haven't actually seen the plans. I know they exist, but I haven't, that was from 2016 or 17, I believe. And, they're from our previous engineer, IBI. So, I can call them and see if they'd give me a copy. I mean, they'd have to, I would think, because we paid for them.
Sure.
But, so there's a phase 2 downtown revitalization already on the shelf. To me, I think that's an easy kill. Just execute,
I'd
boom.
like to see that.
Maybe we make
Yeah.
a few little adjustments, but go ahead and boom, execute that.
Can you request that? I'd love to see that.
I'm sure I can,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I just assume it's gonna take them a while to get it, so.
Right.
Yeah.
And, so, we'll look at that and then go from there. But I think a lot of this stuff that, I'm glad to hear that they're gonna finally do something with that Maker's Mark, or Maker's
Yeah.
Lot. That thing's been sitting there in bad shape for,
And the back looks rough from the
Yes.
park perspective, with all the paneling falling off.
yes. And,
Yeah,
by the way, I noticed the other day that, the boys have not taken care of your list, so I got on them the other day. about
Yeah,
it.
I was there today. They did take out the rebar that was poking up.
Did they?
Yeah, those were gone, because I
Okay.
mean, that's the thing I was most worried about.
Good.
But yeah, like that swing is still cut in half.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I got on them, last week,
Yeah.
or the week before.
I was hoping we were gonna have our Parks and Rec meeting, because
Well, not got on them, but I sent them a reminder email. That's what I mean.
Yeah, well, let's form a subcommittee. Is that the process, is bring it up during city council, or I don't know what?
Honestly, if I were you guys, I would send an email now, hey,
Okay.
this is what we need to do, who's interested?
Okay.
And, I don't know what the process is, Tony, I'm sure can intervene on that. and we can just get started as soon.
Yeah,
ASAP.
because I think we should get started this month or November, or I'm sorry, October.
Yeah, I think sooner than later, because as soon as those instructions drop,
It's gonna be,
I mean, maybe I waited a little too late to get you guys going, maybe not, but until we have the instructions, what are we doing, and I can bring you all the ideas I've heard from the other groups that I've just been listening on, and,
Because it will become a feeding frenzy if we don't get a handle on it.
yes. Well, that's exactly what it would be, and that's what some of their ideas are. I mean, I can tell you the county has a grand plan, and their attempt to include Nelsonville is, dropping a whole lot of money into the GFS building. And that's how they've included Nelsonville into the county plan.
Any idea when that's going to be?
No idea. I can assure you that I've had zero coordination in that plan, wasn't even invited to the meetings. I party crashed one of them, but that's their, what they're trying to do is they're trying to paint a picture, just like they're trying to paint a picture that they've included all these things into their plan, just like his plan. We've included Perry County, we've included Nelsonville, we've included all these people into our plan to make it look like all these different players are a part of it. And I'm not bashing his plan, but what I'm saying is Hawking College included Perry County by doing this, included Nelsonville by doing this, and so forth. And so it looks like all these different areas are included in said plan, and they are to a certain degree. But is Nelsonville really a part of their plan? Just like is Nelsonville really a part of the county plan, just because they got money into one building inside of Nelsonville? That's,
I hear you. Yeah.
I'm not bashing the county, I'm not definitely not bashing, I'm really excited about what they're doing. Please, Hawking College, I'm not saying anything negative, I'm really excited, thank you for doing what you're doing. And, is it really regional and collaborative? Or are they just tossing money at a building in this area and saying, oh, look, and what else are, for the county plan, what else are they doing? So.
Cool. Well, it sounds like we have our action items. I'll, finish this draft, send it to you guys to take a look, and hopefully we'll get it out we'll get some legal review and then get it out in the paper. We'll also email Tony and see what it takes to get a subcommittee going.
Yeah.
Last thing, the next time planning and development meets, I'm hoping to have some positive information about SOPEC. Are you familiar with SOPEC? So this is the Southeast Ohio Public Energy Commission.
Good stuff, man.
So they do energy aggregation. So they, negotiate for entire communities to get better rates, and it's green energy. And so, their most recent one for non-City of Athens community was 22% lower rates for every household in that area.
Sign me up.
Yeah, so we really want to get in on that. I've reached out to the community liaison to find out, I guess we had some false start, I guess, in the past, and some former people screwed it up. But hopefully we can figure out a way to move past that and get on board sooner rather than later. So just be aware, and you can read a little bit about them. But with that, I think we're going to.
You know what, real quick, before you adjourn, actually the timing on that might work out perfect, because I'm pretty certain the last one for us is in 24 is when ours expires.
Okay.
So if that does in fact have to go on the ballot, you're gonna need some time anyways.
Sure. Yeah.
So we might be okay, because if you got it on the end of the ballot by end of 23, so a year from now, to get it all lined up and put it on the ballot, that might line up just perfect.
Yeah, well, we'll try. I mean, I'll talk with Aaron hopefully here soon, and we'll find out. But I think it's a slam dunk. I can't imagine. There's no good reason not to do it as far as I'm concerned. So great. All right. Well, we are adjourning this planning and development meeting. It is 7:21.